Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the In the Book Stack scarf. This is a beginner-friendly moss stitch scarf that uses one row and is repeated throughout the scarf while occasionally changing color. The overlapping stitches create a warm, thick scarf with a lovely drape. So this is my favorite go-to winter scarf and I hope it will become yours as well. If you prefer to read patterns, you can find the free written pattern linked in the description box below. Let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to do is make a slip knot. Place it on your hook and tighten it up. Now we're going to chain 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright guys, we are going to go into the fourth chain from the hook. So this is our first chain, second, third, and fourth. So going into this chain underneath the top loop, we are going to yarn over, draw up a loop, so we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And that makes a single crochet. So the 3 chains that we skipped, those count as a single crochet and a chain 1 space. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to skip this next chain. We're going to go into the second one here. Going underneath the top loop, we're going to make a single crochet, chain 1. We're going to skip this first chain, go into the second, and make a single crochet, chain 1. Sometimes when we skip our stitches and then we work into the next chain, what can happen, I'll show you here. If we kind of like pull up too tight and everything, it can really like pull on those chains and you're gonna see these holes or gaps in our scarf and it doesn't always look great. And I've tried really hard to figure out a way to avoid this, but so the only way that kind of works a little bit is what we can do is we can just try to crochet these single crochets a little bit tightly and also gently. So gently like pulling up a loop and gently working this stitch. So I'll show you guys this in the next one. So we're going to skip this first chain, going into that second chain under the top loop. Just kind of like gently hold the chain and don't pull too tight. And then as we're yarning over and pulling through those 2 loops, I just like to put my thumb here and just hold it in place. And sometimes that helps. So just take the first row kind of nice and gentle, but we're going to repeat this across. So we're going to skip this first chain and going into the second chain, we are going to make a single crochet, chain 1. Okay guys, we have 2 chains remaining, so we're going to skip that first chain and we're going to go into the second chain. So into that last chain, we are going to make our final single crochet. And this time we're not going to chain 1. So this is what row 1 looks like. Okay guys, to start row 2, we're going to turn our work. And we are going to chain 2. Now from here on out, this chain 2 at the beginning of our row, it counts as a single crochet, chain 1. we're gonna find our first chain 1 space. So if you guys see here, these are 2 single crochets and there's like a tiny hole between them. If you can't see them, what you can do is you can grab hold of your work and kind of like stretch it out. Do you see that hole right there? We are gonna go into that space. Go into that space, yarn over and draw up a loop. And so we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. Nice and gentle. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to find our next chain 1 space. So these are our 2 single crochets, and if you separate your work a little bit, you'll see that space between them. Going into that space, we're going to yarn over and draw up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through both loops, and chain 1. And so we are going to make a single crochet chain 1 in every chain 1 space across. So find your next 2 single crochets and the space between them, insert your hook and make a single crochet chain 1, nice and gentle. In the next chain 1 space, single crochet chain 1 all the way across. After row 2, you do not have to be very gentle with your stitches, so you can be a lot looser with your tension if you'd like to. You can pull up hard if you want to, but it's just the first 2 rows are a little bit sensitive to that chain being pulled up, so that's why we're just going to take it kind of slow for these 2 rows. Okay guys, so we're at this last, we have a single crochet here, and we also have that chain 3 that we kind of skipped. So if you kind of like separate your work slightly, see that hole right there? We're going to go into that space, poke your hook in, and make our last single crochet, and we're not going to chain 1. We're just going to end it here. So this is what row 2 looks like. So as you guys can see how there's some noticeable holes in, you know, our chain and everything? What we can do is we can just kind of like tug this way, and that kind of like stretches out our work a little bit and closes them up slightly. To start row 3, we're going to turn our work. And row 3 and onward is the same as row 2. So we're just going to do this one more time. We are going to chain 2. And remember guys, that chain 2, it counts as our first single crochet and it counts as a chain 1. Now we're going to find our first chain 1 space. So this can be a little hard to see, but we found our 2 single crochets and there is a space between them, so that hole right there. So we're going to insert our hook into that space and make a single crochet, chain 1. We're going to find the next 2 single crochets and see that space. We're going to go into that space and make a single crochet, chain 1. And we're going to make a single crochet, chain 1 in every chain space across. Okay guys, we have arrived. We see this single crochet and then we also have this chain 2 from the beginning of row 2. So what we're going to do is we're just going to insert our hook between the 2. So right after the single crochet, we're going to insert our hook, see how we're in that space, and we're going to make our last single crochet of the row. So this is what row 3 looks like. Alright guys, we are going to pretend that I am at the end of row 11 right now. And so we're at that area where we have a single crochet and then our beginning chain 2 space. So we're going to insert our hook into that area, into that space, and we're going to yarn over and draw up a loop. So at this point we have 2 loops on our hook. Now we are going to change color at this spot. So we're going to put down our current color, and we're not going to like trim our tail or anything. We're going to keep it attached to our work because that will save us from weaving in a bunch of ends, and we're also going to need it in 2 more rows. So we're going to loop color B over our finger, and we're going to leave a long tail. This will help us weave in our ends later. So loop it over your finger, pick up your work, and we're going to pick up color B with our hook, and we're going to pull it through the 2 loops on our hook. And that completes our single crochet, and we've changed color seamlessly. Now to close this stitch up a little bit, you can just pull on your color strands and see how that kind of closes it up really tight. Now to start the next row, we're going to turn our work. And with color B, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work our row as normal. So we always start in that first chain 1 space, make a single crochet, chain 1, and we work a single crochet, chain 1 in each space across. So we are going to be working with color B for 2 rows. So we're going to do this row in color B, and then we're also going to do the next row in color B, and I will show you guys how to change color once again. Okay guys, we're at our last chain space. So we have this single crochet and the chain 2 space. So insert your hook into that space, yarn over and draw up a loop so you have 2 loops on your hook. Now we're going to drop our current color. This is color B, and we're not going to trim it. We're just going to leave it attached to our work. And we are going to pick up color A. So it should still be hanging from your work. So loop it over your finger, and we're going to yarn over with it, and we're going to pull it through those 2 loops on our hook to complete our single crochet and change color. See how we can't really tell where we actually change color? Very cool. So now we're going to turn our work, and we are going to chain 2, and we're gonna make 2 rows in color A, just like we did with color B. We're at the end of our second row with color A. Going into that last space between our single crochet and our chain 2, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and draw up a loop so we have 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to let color A hang from the back of our work, and we're going to pick up, oh, that's the tail. We're going to pick up color B. So loop it over your finger, yarn over with your hook, and pull it through the 2 loops to complete that single crochet. And you can pull on color A to kind of close up that stitch. So this is what our work is looking like, and as you guys can see, so you can't tell from this side, but on this side you can kind of see where those color changes are. See how they're how our yarn is kind of moving up the sides, and so that's the only indication on where we're going to change color. You now have all the tools that you need to complete this scarf. We're going to be following the same row for the remainder of our scarf, but we're just going to change color periodically. So you're going to follow the color changes on the next screen. So when you no longer need a color, that's when you can leave a long tail and trim it, and then just continue working with the colors that you are using. But if you see in the color changes that you still have rows left to do in a specific color, then keep it hanging from your work. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy using your cozy scarves. This is my favorite go-to scarf. I always grab it before I leave the house in the winter time. So it's currently winter now, and it's the only scarf I use. So I really hope that you guys enjoy making it, and you can easily adjust the color changes to suit you, and you can continue working, you know, these rows until you're satisfied with the length of your scarf. So you can either make it shorter than the original pattern or longer. Whatever you guys choose, please let me know in the comments down below how your scarves turned out, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.